Today is July 1st. Q3 is officially here. And by the end of this month, a lot of small business owners will be saying that they want more revenue and they won't have taken a single measurable action to create it. So your Q3 results are not going to be determined by how motivated you feel in September, but they're being determined right now by what you choose to do every day, what actions you're tracking, and what you're willing to change. So, welcome to Spaghetti to Strategy. I'm Bill Walker, founder of Creators Create, and joining me today is
Gregg Lawrence, owner and operator of Impact Marketing and Consulting, and happy July. Actually,
Happy
Bill,
July.
by the time people see this, it's going to be like July 6th. So,
Little do you know, today's July 1st. I may just put this out today.
cool.
So, what do you think we're going to be talking about today?
Q3.
Definitely Q3. It's the perfect time to do it. Every time we start a new quarter, it feels like a fresh start, right? There's a mental freedom that happens when we begin something new. And so we're not going to let people just begin with a good feeling, are we?
Never. No.
No.
Feelings are great, but they don't do a lot.
So, have you ever noticed that a lot of business owners enter a quarter with some vague goal or vague intentions of wanting to do something meaningful? And then at the end of the month, realize
Sorry.
nothing happened.
Yeah. No, I
Oh, is
was
that you?
laughing. That was me because some businesses enter with vague intentions. Sadly, way too many businesses enter not even realizing it's Q3. Sorry.
It's okay. Now, I'm sure that all of us at some point in time have begun a new quarter with all the great intentions of the world and then got to the end of the month and realized what happened to the month. We didn't hit any of our goals. And that stops now.
Yes, it does.
Okay, at least we hope it stops now for some of you.
We
I
hope
think,
it's for all of you.
okay,
Now, whether you make this happen or not is in part up to you, but we'll get to that in a minute.
yeah. So I think a lot of times people, when they begin a month, they think about a revenue goal, revenue for the quarter, revenue for the month, the number of customers or clients that they want to acquire. And,
It's very
I think,
common.
yeah, so what do you think about that? Should we set some goals today?
Definitely. But I don't want to do revenue goals. I don't want to do new
What?
client. No, no. We're going to do something that we have control over. Bill, how much control do you really truly have over how much revenue you bring in this month? Think about it.
Not a lot. I mean, I have some control. I mean, I can show up. The people that owe me money are still going to pay me this month, hopefully.
You don't have a lot of control over that. How much control do you have over if somebody's going to become a new client or not?
Well, whether or not they become a new client this month or next month, you're
Yeah.
right. I don't have a lot of control over it. However, for those that have been tracking for a long time, it can become more predictable.
Absolutely. It can definitely become predictable. I'm not saying we have no indicators, but you don't have any actual control. So, how much control do you have over what activity you're going to take inside of your business every day?
I have 100% control over what I
Uh-huh.
actually do.
Yeah. This is a scary thing because what I propose we do is we're not going to talk about revenue or new clients. We're going to talk about the one thing that we all have total control over, and that's our activity. And that's good and bad to this. Okay. The upside is you have total control. The downside is you have total control. So,
Absolutely. So basically, it's 100% your responsibility.
exactly. But that's fine because as long as you're doing things that you have constant control over, that you can determine the outcome of, it's going to make it easier for you to create the outcome you want with respect to revenue, new customers, etc.
Okay.
And that's just activity. So I would like to discuss activity today and not just activity, but we're going to track that activity. We're going to measure that activity. We're going to see the results that activity produces so that in the future there's a much stronger correlation between what we do and what that brings us. And that will make it more predictable. So again, it won't give us total control, but if I know I do certain activities and that increased my new clients or revenue or whatever you're tracking by 25%, 50%, whatever that percentage is, that's a pretty good indicator. If I want to increase my revenue by 100%, double those activities or triple those activities. But that's what I want to focus on this week. I want to focus on the thing that we have control over, every single one of us, and that's what we do. How do you feel about that?
All right. I think that's an absolutely fantastic idea. Let's change things up. You know, on my podcast from a couple of days ago, I talked all about revenue goals. This is actually a little more fun. You know, let's talk about activity goals because that's something that we can control, what we actually do. And then I want to cover one thing real quick. You know, in the last couple of weeks, we've kind of talked about time blocks for activity.
Yep.
And we broke them down into your creative work block, your marketing amplifying block, and your operations block. I don't want people to think that this is all about operations goals, like how many hours I can work on my website or how many hours I'm scrolling in the name of research to try to do whatever it is that I'm doing. Because I don't think that's what you're referring to, is it?
Not at all. This would probably mostly apply to the amplification blocks.
Okay, so actual activity that can generate or potentially generate revenue.
Yes, absolutely. This is not redesigning my website. This is not coming up with a new product, or this is getting yourself out there. In fact, we're going to call these call to action activities.
Awesome.
So
the
we got
goals
different.
once. So let me understand. If you're going to make a set a goal in a little bit,
Oh yeah.
and to count, it has to have it's an action that has a call to action.
Yes.
Hey, we're going to have actions that call to action today.
Exactly. If you got a brick and mortar business, it'll be a little bit different. Well, I guess it could be the same, but it'll likely be a little bit different than if you are in the creative space, right?
So
let's say,
different.
But that's fine because the end result is whatever you're doing is going to be a call to action, and that's something that you can see what you've done, track the results, and then evolve. And we kind of talked about this last week. Today we're kind of focusing on tracking and evolving, but what do we mean by that? You can't track something that's not there, right? I mean, I see it sounds kind of silly and you're laughing, but it's true. I cannot tell you how many clients we've worked with in the past that we ask them, what are you doing? Nothing. How's it working? It's not. I mean, clearly, if you're doing nothing, you've got nothing to track and you're not going to have results. So we're going to talk about things that are actionable that you can track your activity. So what are some things that you would notice in the creative space that people could track?
Well, I think it kind of depends, or it always depends. Where are you at in your business? If you're a brand new creative and you're writing your first book or you're recording your first album, or you're really thinking about the whole business thing, then an action, and it's not really income generating, right? But if you're working on your book, I mean, you're at least creating something that is going to potentially lead to revenue. But what you can be doing is be inviting people to join you on this journey. So then they get to know who you are. So that when you do have a product, right? Because we talked about this in the movie industry, you don't just go see a movie you've never heard of. They've started marketing it a year in advance. So if you're a creative and you're a new creative and you still don't have a product, but you're working on your product, the first thing you can be doing is creating some noise for yourself, right?
Absolutely. And I would say that actually applies to even brick and mortar businesses. If I'm getting ready to open up a new business, a restaurant, I think we mentioned last week a car dealership, whatever the case may be.
We did. We talked about a car dealership last week, and you mentioned restaurants. We covered both.
If you're getting ready to open up any business, but it's not open yet, you can still create buzz, right? There's still activity you can do to prepare for that. So whether you're just starting out or getting ready to start, I should say, whether you've launched, whether you're 6 months in or 10 years in, there are activities you can do every single day to push your business forward, no matter where you are. So don't ever think, well, I'm not there yet, or I'm too far in. What else could I do? Yeah, there's always something you can do. What would you think? Let's say I've got a brick and mortar business that I've had for 10 years and I'm just not getting the growth. Do you have any thoughts on what you could do with that?
Well, I think one of the things I can do is go hang out online where my ideal customer hangs out and then engage them directly, whether it's a direct personal outreach to them or commenting on something that they've posted and start getting myself out there. Or what do you think? That's possible?
Absolutely. So, an example, let's say you have a restaurant. You've
Okay.
been open for 10 years. In fact, I've got a client, they actually have a Greek restaurant that I love. In fact, I had their euros for lunch yesterday. And they've been around for about 10 years and they started out of the gate with a huge following. And then it's tapered off and the whole COVID thing kind of really took a bite out of their business. So they're a little bit struggling. And I know the owner, his name's Christian. And so when I go in there to get my food, I usually chat with him for a bit. And I was talking to him yesterday and asked him a few questions about, how business going. He said, it's kind of slow. So we talked a little bit. Well, what are you doing? What have you been trying lately to boost business? And he gave me the same old, same old. And I going to he was busy with the lunch rush, so I said, do you mind if we sit down sometime next week after the holiday and go over some ideas? And he's like, absolutely. um, so some of the things I'm going to suggest to him, he's been in business forever. He has a loyalty program. He was smart enough to start that several years ago, so he's got a huge database of his previous customers, right? So one thing he could do is send out a newsletter or just an email or anything to let all his previous customers know, hey, we've got a new special, we've got a new item on the menu, or whatever he wants to do. But he could every single day, he could engage his current customer base with any incentive, any thought, any reminder. It doesn't have to be a discount or anything. It'd just be, hey, come try our new menu item, or how long's it been since you've had the most delicious dolma you've ever seen? Whatever it wants to be. And believe me, he makes the best dolma. Anyway, he just needs to remind people he's there, right? So that's one thing we can do. And I'm probably going on longer than I thought, but
Well, I have an idea that he can do.
yes.
He needs Restaurant Impossible. He needs Rob
No,
Irvine to come in and
no.
smack him around a little bit and go, "What are you doing?" Because if he started off super successful and then it's falling apart and he's doing same old, see, he'd smack him around, probably be much harsher than you'll be with him.
Yeah. No, I don't want him breaking down walls, or quite frankly, I think his food is fantastic. I don't want him changing his menu either. I'm not kidding when I say the best dolma. If you were here in the Mesa area, I would tell you
So
that's the
tell
place.
him, do a shameless plug. So if you're in Mesa, what's the name of the restaurant?
MV Pita.
MV
M
Pita.
as in most valuable pita. Power Road and Brown. Delicious. Anyway,
There you go.
I gotta
Hey,
go tell him Peyton.
that we just gave him props on our show.
That's right.
He should be a guest now, just so he can thank us and we can talk to him more.
I'll ask him. He's busy, but yeah, I'll ask him.
Okay.
Anyway, getting sidetracked here.
Yes, that is a sidetrack, but it's a fun one. So engaging current customers. How
That's
often?
one option. Go ahead. Sorry.
Well, let's just cut to the chase. What challenge are you going to give people?
I'm going to challenge everybody for the month of July, every single day of the month. I want you to do one consistent activity, and it's got to be a call to action activity. And we'll get to that in a minute. But you can't miss a day, and you can't do something that's just busy work. It's going to be the same thing. So, for example, in the case of Christian, I would recommend to him that maybe once a day he sends out an email or makes a post on a social media about coming to the restaurant, or subscribe to our page, or if it's an email going out, click this for a coupon code, whatever he decides he wants to do. It's going to be something he has to do every single day for the entire month, and it's got to have a call to action. It can't be something that they just look at. It's going to be asking them to come in, click here, subscribe, whatever it is. And just so you know, we're here to help anybody watching this. So I'll come back to this again at the end, but we're going to have a link at the bottom to contact us. If you have any questions or you're not sure what would be a good call to action, click on the contact us link, fill out the little form, tell me your name, your phone number, and what you'd like to discuss. I'm happy to spend 10-15 minutes discussing it with you. No obligation. We're here to help. I'm here to help. Bill's here to help. So if you want to talk with us, take advantage. We're here to help. But anyway, I'll come back to that some more. You need to have an actionable item.
And so for those of you who don't think that he was serious, he's totally serious. Like, seriously, click the button, contact us, and we will do what we can for you.
I love this. I love marketing. It's fun for me. So if you contact me, you might be thinking I'm trying to get this guy to work for free. Nah. You're getting me to do what I do for fun, for free. So that's cool. I like that.
The challenge is to choose one action to do every day of this month.
There's that word again. Choose one. Huh.
I know. I wonder where that comes from.
I don't know.
But you know what? I think this is too easy for him. We need to make it harder. And so I know we're going to make it harder.
You can offer, but I want them to commit to one. If they want to, go ahead. I know where you're going with this. Go ahead.
Maybe. I don't want you to commit to just the month of July. I want you to commit to August and September as well. Like serious commitment to just slamming forward. You know, pretend you got yourself whatever sports car you like, and you're going to floor it. That's what we want to do this quarter. We're going to sprint because we're going to do the same repeatable action every day. Now, Greg wants you to do it for July. I'm challenging you to do it for the entire quarter.
I love that. Absolutely. I want you to have the best Q3 that you've ever had. I want you to do whatever it takes to make sure that you move forward. The one thing I will say, I do agree with that, but I want to be consistent. Whatever you pick as your first action, you got to do that for 30 days. At the end of 30 days, for the next 30 days, if you want to change it to another, that's fine. But whatever action you do it for 30 days, every single day. So at the end of the first month, you can change it to a new action, and you maintain that for 30 days. Change it again if you want, keep it the same. But yes, I'm telling you, consistency is the key. If you do one call to action, yeah, and you do it every day consistently for a month, you will have a noticeable difference. But there's the other part, and this is part of what we're talking about this week. You've got to track it. You're not going to know if it's working for you if you're not tracking what you did, when you did it, how often you did it, and then are you getting any results from that? Are you seeing any growth, any change, any improvement? Do you have new subscribers? Did you make any new sales? Did you acquire any new customers? Did you reactivate any old customers? You've got to track it. If you don't track it and you're just doing a bunch of activity, I'm sure it'll probably help. I mean, activity is good and it will lead to results, but you don't want to run your business blind. You need to track what you're doing. And that's not always fun. It's not exciting, but it's necessary. You've got to track what you're doing.
Absolutely. You know, because here's the next part after you track it. Once you have the information, then you can evolve.
Exactly.
You know, you can continue doing what's working. You can stop doing what's not working. You know, and you can evaluate whether or not your goals were too high or too low. So if you're one of those overachievers that says, okay, they said to choose one activity, I'm going to do 10. And then you get to the end of the week. Okay, that didn't work out very well. And then you get to the end of the second week with even less. You know, it's a good time to pivot and let's reevaluate what you're doing.
Exactly.
So,
That E stands for evaluate and evolve, actually.
I guess, yeah.
But yes, track and evolve. And like Bill is just saying, evolve means you look at what you've done, you look where it's working, where it's not working, you make changes, you make adjustments, you move on, right? I feel like you need to speak here. I feel like I've been talking a lot.
That's okay. You've been doing great. Let's recap what we've been talking about today. First, since this is the very beginning of a new quarter, instead of what is traditionally the focus on is on more revenue, which we can't directly control, we are going to be focusing on actions. What activities are we doing? We are going to track these activities. We're going to commit to doing them for a month, and if you're brave, for 3 months. And I have a story. Yeah.
Excellent.
So I have a story. And I'm sure most of you have heard this. If you're a business owner, I'm sure you know somebody in the real estate business, right? Because there's a thing going on in real estate. And even though things have changed a lot in the last 20, 30 years, the principle is still the same. Somebody comes in and talks to their broker about, how do we get more business? The guy's pretty new and is struggling. And the broker goes, go out and knock 100 doors every day for 6 months. And if you do this, diligently, and you track and you provide good information, you'll never have to do it again. What percentage of people in this situation, Greg, do you think actually do that?
0, maybe 1.
Okay. So maybe 1. How many small business owners do you know that are listening to us with great intentions, and we're asking them to go do an activity for just 30 days, not even 6 months, and for the brave ones, 90 days? How many people are going to do this?
You'd think it's not that much to ask. You'd think they would all do it. And the sad thing is, too many people have good intentions, but they just don't have a lot of follow through. And we're not asking anything difficult. We're not asking to go out in the heat and knock on 100 doors a day. We're talking about sitting at your desk and doing a social media post, picking up the phone and calling a previous client, writing an email. Simple things you can do from the comfort of your air-conditioned chair in 5 to 10 minutes. And I'm curious to see how many of our listeners are going to do it, because there's no question that it will have a huge impact. The only question is, will they do it?
So, what do you think the number one reason is on why people won't do this kind of or these kind of tasks?
Excellent. I've got a couple theories on this. One, and I think this is pretty common, especially for people having established business. It's really easy, believe me, I know, to get stuck in a day-to-day routine. And it's easy to try to implement something bit by bit, but to do something consistently and regularly, sometimes we just get stuck in our little rut, and it's easy to just fall back into what we do from day to day to day. It's funny, you brought up as kind of a joke, what Christian could do is have Robert Irvine come and, smack around Restaurant Impossible. I do love those shows. I used to watch them all the time. And if you'd see the follow-up, many, many, many times, they would take all these new ideas and new menu ideas of all the stuff that they learned in a few days, and they'd implement it for a while. But more often than not, sadly, too many of those restaurant owners would fall back into their old routine, which is what killed them in the first place. And too many of those restaurants ended up going out of business anyway, even though they had the help of a world-class chef that knows what he's doing. So that's part of it. I think it's far too easy to just slip back into your old routine. So that's
all right.
one.
So that's reason number 1. What was the second reason?
I think the second reason, people are very resistant to change. They're resistant to trying something. This is the funny thing. And anybody listening to this, this is gonna resonate with most of us. I know I need to do something different. I want something new, but I don't want to change anything. And it's funny. We instinctively understand that we need to continue to grow and evolve and change, but we don't want to. We want to keep doing what we've always done because it's comfortable. Change can
Yes.
be uncomfortable. Change is new, change is different, change requires additional work, even if it's just a little bit. Like I said, sitting down and spending 5 minutes at your computer to send out an email, make a phone call, do a social media post, or whatever the case may be, that's minimal, but it's new, it's different,
You
and
know,
we're resistant to that.
when I was a teenager, I used to have a shirt that said, "Change is good. You go first."
Yeah,
You know, this is such a good idea. You do it.
yeah, yeah.
But you know what? I think I have a theory about why people are resistant to change.
Let's hear it.
I think it's based in fear,
Oh yeah.
fear of rejection, fear of failure, and the worst of them all, fear of success.
I was wondering if you're going to say that because I guarantee you when you just said that, a lot of people are like, "What do you mean fear of success?" And you're absolutely right. Do you want to explain what you mean by that?
Yeah, you know, because, okay, so you've got your business, you've been around for 10 years, and you keep doing what you're doing. So you keep getting what you got. And the idea of change, it puts you out there and you think you want success, but do you really? Because that'll put you out of your comfort zone. You know, when people are going to school, a lot of times they're like, I want to be the CEO of a company. And the reality is, no, you don't. And like, sure I do. I want the $1 million paycheck. Yeah, but you don't want to do the $1 million work.
No.
You know, and whether you like Elon Musk or not, have any of you ever listened to what his work week is like? How many hours is he does he put in a week? How much money? You know, now he's got access to other people's money, but in the beginning, how much of his own personal money was he willing to put on the line to become successful? When you're a CEO of a major corporation, what happens if you take the company in a wrong direction? The board fires you. You know, sometimes you may have board support, but if you get enough shareholders, major shareholders that are against you, you lose your job. And so this fear of success, you know, I want to make $100,000 a year. I want to make $1 million a year. But do you? You know, this simple activity of choosing one thing, to one income producing activity a month, one prospecting goal that you're going to do every day for a month. I mean, that really is going to tell you whether or not you want the $1 million a year or not.
It's true. Absolutely. It sounds simple, but let's be honest. If you're not willing to implement one new little thing, a call to action activity every day for 30 days, that's it. 5-10 minutes a day for 30 days. How bad do you really want your success? I mean, I'm not trying to be mean, but I'm going to be frank with you. If you're not willing to do something that small, I don't know how bad you really want it.
And I think it's even more than that. So not only do you need to choose, oh, I love that word. Not only do you need to choose what you're going to commit to doing, you need to tell someone else about it. You need to tell someone who you can be held accountable to. You know, there's really something. Oh, and it needs to be somebody who's not going to let you off the hook.
Exactly.
So if you have no accountability person, it is so easy for us to justify to ourselves why we didn't get something done. It's a lot harder for me to go, Greg, I committed to doing this every day. And out of the 7 days, I did it twice. Well, what
I'm
happened to the other
understandable.
7 days or the other
Yeah.
5 days? Boy, I can't even do math. What happened the other 5 days? Well, you know, I had a busy day and then, so now I'm
You
an author.
take
You
five
know,
minutes.
I had a bad day. And so I got my chapter wasn't developing or my music isn't developing. My art piece doesn't look the way that I think it should. So I decided not to do anything. And so why would I want to do outreach? Because I'm really feeling depressed about things.
Yeah. So you're letting your feelings get in the way of your success.
Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah.
Let me tell you, if you're not used to doing this, it's bad enough. So I created this spreadsheet for tracking, and Greg tells me that's intense. Beginners aren't gonna like that because they've never even tracked before. So I created a simpler one. But my guess is people still don't want to track because they don't want to have to look themselves in the face about what they did or didn't do.
Yep.
Start small. Start a new habit. Commit today to one thing.
Just
Not
one.
5, not 2, just 1. I need to enhance the challenge even more.
Go for it.
So not only do we want you to commit, Greg wants you to commit every day for a month, and that's fantastic. I want you to commit for 3 months. However, as I failed to mention, and he rightly mentioned, at the end of every month, you can change what that one action is. So you can do one action in July, one action in August, one action in September, as long as you're doing one action. Once you choose, I want you to write this down somewhere. My July commitment is, and there it is in writing, and hang it on over your desk or carry it in your wallet, put it up on your, tape it to the mirror of the bathroom, somewhere where you can see this every day. I'm going to do this. And then be held accountable for it.
Absolutely. You can't see because my camera is right there, but I've got a little row of sticky notes right above my monitor of things that I need to, commitments I've made. And they're always staring me right in the face. Every day I sit down and, oh yeah, can't forget that. And then I'm held accountable by Bill, and Bill and my wife, and Bill's held accountable to his wife. And let's be honest.
Oh, go ahead.
You're more of a stickler. My wife's far too forgiving. If I was just held accountable to her, it wouldn't stick as often because she's a soft heart. But you'll put me in my place.
Let me tell you, as Greg will attest, I spent many years being scared of amplifying, of actually putting myself out there to what I can do and why I'm doing it. And so I created a system, which you guys have heard us talk about, the Create OS. Today we kind of talked about tracking and evolving, which are the last 2 letters in Create. And, as I've been putting this together, I mean, the framework is really, it is pretty cool. And if you follow it, it will help. But when I created my community, I've really learned that you don't need more information. You don't need more people telling you what to do. Most people need encouragement and accountability. And so as we go over this stuff, as we talk about amplification, which is Greg's favorite topic, and apparently mine is becoming choosing and being accountable. If you really want to change and you want to get the life that you dream about, the life that you deserve, accountability is the single most important thing that'll help you get there. Because when you're accountable to another human, accountability doesn't exist to shame anyone. It's not there to make you feel bad. It's there to go, cool, what happened? Why didn't you do it? And then we can work through it. And if there's a bottleneck, you have people around you that are cheering you on, and we can work through this bottleneck or challenge or whatever it is. And if you did do it, it's always fun to receive the kudos for having accomplished your goal.
Exactly.
So either way you win, right? You get an endorphin rush for doing what you said you were going to do, and you get help if for whatever reason something kept you from completing what you said you would do. So I view this as a win-win. And if you're the type of person, here's the shameless plug. If you know that you need more accountability, there'll be a link below to my community, which is called Create, Focus, Finish, Grow. It's hosted on School, and you'll get all the accountability help that you could ever want. So, but really, we want to help you.
Absolutely. Fill out that thing. If you have any questions, if you want direct, give me your number. I'll call you. We'll talk on the phone. Just give me your email. We can communicate through email, whatever you want. If you've got questions, if you want to figure out what's the best action for you to take on a daily basis for the next 30 days, reach out to me. Let's talk about it. Let's figure it out. Happy to do it. Love to do it.
We both would, because at the end of the day, ideas don't work until you do. Businesses don't grow until you do. So make sure you're subscribed on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon Music, wherever you're listening, so you never miss any of these episodes. And if you're a small business owner and you either need help or you just want to talk about your business, click the link in the description and apply to be a guest on the show. We'd love to
Absolutely.
talk to you. We'd love to feature you. If you haven't guessed, this is Greg's jam.
I love it.
This is what gets him excited. This is what gets him to get up every day, is working with business owners. I like working with you too. I also like creating, so I'm not going to give up being a musician and all that stuff because I take great pleasure in it. My newest thing though is an accountability to really help independent creatives, creative entrepreneurs, small business owners get the business that you say you want and make it profitable and sustainable. And that's why we're here doing this show.
I've said it before. I will say it again and again. Entrepreneurs, self-employed people, you're my people. You're the people I want to hang around with. You're the people I want to talk to. You're the people. You're my people. Let's make everybody's business grow better and faster. I sincerely believe the world would be a much better place if a lot more people were self-starters and entrepreneurs. So
I agree. We appreciate you being with us. Once again, this is Spaghetti to Strategy. Now, go set your goals,
write it down.
and we'll see you in the next episode.